Hello everybody, welcome back to Language, Litigation, and Integration, Part 121. Sun's out, guns out, baby. You know, typically they mean like, the sun's out, so we gotta bring out our muscles. But nah, we're talking again. What do we got today? We got shooters on shooters on shooters on shooters once again. Today we have the grocery store gauntlet. We have some freedom bullets at church. In Houston, we have a problem. Houston wasn't really a mass shooting, at least from what I've read. But obviously, then we'll be talking at length with some talking points from the PBD podcast, the Libertarian Roundtable. So obviously, big in the news, we had a white terrorist attack, which is again, I thought we were losing our culture here in America, guys. I know that I hadn't seen a mass shooting in like a week, so good. Right back on track. We got at least two this past 24 hours, 48 hours. Just a couple. The Houston one wasn't a mass shooting, but freedom bullets at church and the grocery store gauntlet. Be talking mainly about just a couple comments. I mean, it's the same shit. But the first thing I wanted to say is, again, I'm probably the most active journalist ever. I'm the most prodigious linguist ever. And I wanted to read, there was a post on Reddit about not the whole manifesto, but just like 3 paragraphs of his plan of action. And I just wanted to read through it to show you just again about demonstrating the pathetic, worthless behavior and how people form groups and think they're being beta males. They're serving a bigger cause, right? And he goes in there to shoot any just non-white people. And what great theory do we have? The great replacement theory. Again, I'm sure it can't even be a theory at all. But again, some 18-year-old kid who has no idea, adult man who has no idea how to fucking behave. He wants to fit in. He wants to do something right. And what's he going to do? Slaughter people. Because we're disgusting animals that have not matured. And so the only way we can limit this shit is if we actually spread education. Maybe he has a friend, maybe he has a colleague at work that says, hey, let's go to a baseball game, let's go work out, let's go start a business, as opposed to let's spread hate and kill people and say, well, who fucking cares, because once shit hits the fan, you can't do anything about it. And the only way to limit violence is to spread education. The only way to spread education is for this worthless fucking world to enforce your own laws, which at length we've seen you won't do. The FBI will clear their belts to me trying to exercise my constitutional rights, which is, again, you turn on the TV, we talk about freedom and free speech. Again, that's completely closed off, a closed system, the beta male and female society, where again, we can talk about, can we spread false scientific information, but then when I go look for this manifesto, there's no copies of it. You can't fucking find this shit. And again, then I read news articles and it's like, 10 TV obtained a copy. And those active fucking journalists on this fucking planet, and I can't find the fucking thing to teach about the language, to teach about why he's talking. Because again, it's like, he's talking, I'm going to go here at this time, I'm going to go here at this time. I'm going to make sure my safety's engaged. Like, he literally thinks he's like, a tactical operative. And then, I'm just going off the top of my head, because it was certainly on Reddit yesterday. Probably hear some buzzing in the background. Once again, don't have any constitutional rights, can't pay my fucking bills, can't buy my fucking house comfortably, can't do fucking anything. Because there is nothing to do in fucking America but sun's out, guns out, baby. You can either go to the grocery store and try not to get fucking slaughtered, or you can just sit there and try to start a career and family, which is impossible, because there's no law enforcement. There is no laws in this fucking country. You say there are laws in this country, you're being fucking sued. You have to say, in beta male society. As long as we push out the fucking guy that can actually help this fucking species, and we just facilitate war, death, shooting, death, pandemic, insurrection, death, well then, we're going to change our flag on LinkedIn to Ukraine. But again, the fact that I can't access the actual manifesto to teach about it is fucking, again, we censor the wrong things instinctually precisely, and then we think spreading false scientific information that is proven incorrect, not as open for debate. There's no reasonable dissent. Talking about the COVID stuff, but we will censor that. But when a journalist is trying to report on a fucking crime and talk about human behavior, we're going to say we're also going to censor that, and we just can't look at it because bad thing, too much of a fucking bad thing. This world is so fucking pathetic. People can't look at their behavior, and then this shit happens. It's how this fucking shit fucking happens. But no sympathy for anybody. People don't know how to behave, people don't know how to stand up and straight. This is what happens. Shit hits the fan, people say, well, how'd that happen? You threw the shit at the fucking fan! So I watched the actual shooting. It's like a minute and a half. Dude just murking dudes. But I wanted to read through the little thing. Another thing that just pokes out to me again. He was worried about having his guns on safety, as well as what else? I think. Oh, he talks about stopping at McDonald's, and it's literally just like, oh, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna have a big plate of hash browns for breakfast, and then I'm gonna load up all my gear. I'm gonna drive, 3-4 hours wherever the fuck he went. Buffalo, New York. I don't know where he's from. Not gonna say his name. And it's like, oh, then I might stop at McDonald's. Yeah, man. Maybe you need a McChicken to murder more people. Maybe a McFlurry with M&Ms. I don't know. Maybe a kids meal of chicken nuggets. Lure some kids out there too. But it's just a clueless person. Oh, I'm gonna slaughter people, and I'm also gonna worry about what's for lunch. Insanity. Fucking insanity. Now the insane part is that he got arrested and he didn't get executed on the spot. More so. I think he just pleaded not guilty. Again, false. Take him behind the fucking court, torture him, maim him, and give him prolonged death. These are scenarios. Absolutely no debate as to what fucking occurred. This is when you go Native American on motherfuckers. This is when you fucking bury them up to their neck and put fire ants in their fucking eyeballs and let them eat alive for 14 days. This is when you actually do shit like this. But no, then I just saw one of the victims' family members like, I have to forgive him. My God is greater. If I can't forgive him, then he'll just eat me alive all day. God, in every historical sense, was fucking brutal. Fear God and love God. Yeah, this is the part where you fear God and then you just fucking execute the people who just commit terrorist attacks. You just maim them, you torture them brutally, and you fucking end their life. That is how you deal with this shit. As a judge, I would accept nothing left. Nothing else besides that. I don't care what the fucking law is. I don't care. Take them out back. Get rid of them. But again, my biggest thing is as an active journalist, I can't find the actual manifesto. And I should have screenshotted it on Reddit. But again, most of it's like copy and pasted bullshit. But there was just like a 3-paragraph plan of action was what the heading was. And I wanted to read through that just for educational purposes. But so that's again lovely America. Sun's out, guns out, baby. We have 1 dead and 5 injured. Man arrested shooting at California Asian church reception. So this one doesn't seem to have a ton of motive because I think the shooter was also Asian. So, and again, what are hate crimes? Self-hate crimes, and then they find a group and then they execute their self-hatred through projecting it onto other people. That's what is occurring. How do you limit that? Education. How do you facilitate education? You enforce your own fucking laws. Boom, 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 boom. Ukraine says thank you also. But not much to say here. Just some old dude. I think this dude was like 68. So just another old dude. What am I gonna do today? Midlife crisis. Well, past midlife crisis. Now what? Oh, now just go shoot people. Yep. I'm gonna go serve the sentiment of the people by shooting people. That is what we were going to do here. Then the Houston one was at a flea market. It said 2 dead, 3 hospitalized. It said 5 men were involved, and two guns were involved. But I think there was a quote here that said that no innocent bystanders were hurt. So it seemed like just antagonism and response. So again, I don't condone antagonism. I don't those scenarios. I don't really. You have to have way more context. The Asian one, probably just like less racism and more hating your group of friends or hating your community or something. But the top shooting, the Buffalo one, you take him out back and you end his life. Anything else before the PBD podcast? Again, sun's out, guns out. Oh, but here's another one. It's not a mass shooting. It's even better. So on Reddit today, there was a domestic abuse called in to the police officers, and a cop responds, and what does he do? He jerks off. So let's try to pull that up real quick. Cop jerks off, responding to domestic abuse. I read the article. But yeah, he got called, was on domestic disturbance call, and he goes in there, and I quote, "The police officer was found on some site with 10,000 pop-ups. The police officer was found with his erect penis in his left hand when the woman's husband entered the kitchen. Officer, I need some help. My husband's about to beat me. No problem, ma'am." So let me crank one real quick, and officer, why are you jerking off? What's going on? Just feeling like cranking one off here in your home. No, nothing to watch here. Oh, husband, hey, what's up, man? Don't beat your wife. I'm just gonna jerk off. So again, here's our wonderful law enforcement. He touched himself in front of the family's 23-year-old daughter. So it just sounds like he was called to the home and just starts jerking off. He also displayed his genitalia to the young woman's mother. Matthew Dominguez, good job, protect and serve, brother. Decent exposure, a misdemeanor. So if he gets called to a person on duty for a domestic abuse dispute, he starts cranking one off in the kitchen, misdemeanor. Humanity, baby. Our species is so fucking disgusting. Every fucking bit of it. To the monkeys shooting people, to the cops jerking off, to every worthless business owner, every worthless politician denying publication of scientific research. This species is just so fucking disgusting. To every medical doctor not prescribing cannabis. It just can't fucking change because nobody has any values. Guys, yeah, this is the world you get when you tell your kids to go play sports and try hard in school and not learn to fucking do anything. Because school's broken, not because education's bad, but school's fucking broken. And all you do is play games all day, learn to compete over nothing, and in the end, like I told you like 1,000 times, you try to come and pay your bills. And sometimes it's when you're a police officer responding to a domestic abuse dispute. So, any other talking points before the podcast? Swatting. I just read something about swatting cases. How severe would I be on sentencing swatting cases? I would be very severe. Meaning if you're a gangbanger, you're going to go slide on somebody, you have to load up your guns, go shoot them, and potentially go to jail yourself. Conversely, if you just want to harass somebody with the SWAT, you say they're holding somebody, they got some guns, or they're doing something illegal, and a cop busts in their door and shoots them, that's like being a mob boss with like a 5-minute phone call because of like law enforcement. So I'd be very strict on sentencing swatting cases. Extremely dangerous, extremely pathetic, and again, internet, typically that stuff's like, people are mad about video games or some shit, and it's just like, again, those people are next in line to go out behind the courthouse door. Like, what was the Yellowstone dude, take him to the train stop. But I would be severe on sentencing swatting cases. Any other talking points before then? EMT training should be mandatory in schooling. Meaning, you should be able to apply a tourniquet. You should be able to do CPR. You should be able to do, stitching. You should be able to do whatever your triage, EMTs do. It doesn't have to be a full-fledged doctor or surgery, but stabilizing vitals, that should be mandatory in schooling for sure. Again, guns out here in America would probably be pretty useful. But that was just responding to, I saw like another video on Reddit. I don't think it was an active shooter. I just think it was another one-off incident about somebody shooting somebody in the market. I think the guy died in that one, but just like a bunch of people standing around saying, what do we do to help? And it's like, if you've called the ambulance, then what you're going to do is try to apply tourniquets, limit the blood loss, stabilize his vitals. So you should be able to do that. And so, again, people do not know what to do. Our species is so fucking privileged. Again, I told you about my friends. I don't like to go to the grocery store and buy, or thinking about the chickens getting killed, but they'll go eat chicken. It's just like, good fucking Christ, man. This species is so fucking pathetic. We stagnate, and then we enable reckless behavior by forming groups. And it's like, people have to change the maturity of the sentiment of this species. It has to occur, or this shit won't stop happening. So now on to responding to the Libertarian Roundtable. So the Libertarian Roundtable, first, my just overall impression of the format and the guests. Again, like I said, I'm not a fan of PVD at all. He's a thief. Again, I can't turn on those episodes that I'm saying it is what it is, which is direct theft for me. So again, still the general form of all solutions. All you do is add specificity past that. Again, it is what it is the basis of all logic. It's the general form of solutions. Identify a form of solution and prove it exists. I did so, and everyone demonstrates that empirical proof every time they structure a sentence, always. Sounds or no sounds, it just doesn't matter. Now, just another quick, why haven't I uploaded a science-specific video lately? Because it takes a while to fucking solve all of science once you've already solved all of science before. But big theorem, all lyrics are words, not all words are lyrics. Just a quick update on my derivation, which I do at the pool and outside of my porch every day, literally, shit don't stop. But the format and the guess, he said, not a fan of PBD, he's your typical, Republican, grew up Democrat, or, he keeps telling a story about, his mom was like, something about rich people, and he's like, well, I want to be rich when I grow up. Or like, rich people are thieves or something. PBD is a thief. He's not really rich, but he has more money than most people. So he's your guy that can join the army, blah, blah, blah. And then he just interviews murderers. And again, because sun's out, guns out, so that's our audience. As if we're not blowing people away at the grocery store, or at least intrigued by it, and people who aren't intrigued by it will just those, I don't want to watch that. My brother doesn't want to watch the bad things on the news. I just sequester that away, and that's exactly what facilitates the violence. So, not a fan of PBD, but he's your typical kind of conservative leaning, I'd say he's self-described as a capitalist, even more so than a Republican. But he's the freedom, make your own way, and again, I told you I watched his, how to be successful, have 2-week goals, 2-year goals, and 20-year goals or some shit, and you'll have actual progress after 2 weeks. I have no actual progress after 20 fucking years. So I just don't exist in the beta male female society. I don't get privileges. I don't get access to court. I don't get access to law. I don't get access to any of those things actually. In real practical life, I don't. Healthcare, none of that shit. How about the other guests? Because again, I've never had a political journey. Like, I've never considered myself Democrat, Republican, or Libertarian. I just say, why is everyone so fucking incompetent, stupid, and selfish? So it's like I said, at my level of intelligence, awareness, there's literally, politics never actually gets into, my mindset. Literally, actually. And so that's not an exaggeration, that's not a joke, that's how I've always been. Ask anybody who I used to call a fucking friend, it's fucking demonstrably true. My thoughts on libertarianism in general. Is there a meaningful difference between Democrat, Republican, and Libertarian? No. They're groups. They're ontologies. They're ways for people to form personal identity based off of group sentiment. So Democrats, we love social justice, we love our LGBTQII plus Qs. It's tilde, Ben Shapiro. It's not tilde. It's tilde. You stupid fuck. Littered cunt. But where's he at? Is he in Texas? No, I think he's in Nashville. No, he's in Florida. I don't know where the fuck Ben Shapiro's at. But I was going to say, if you're in Texas, you probably should have some Spanish, for fuck's sake. But no, there's not a meaningful difference. We're all people. We're all human beings. We're at different maturity levels. Those maturity levels will facilitate, do we form groups? Do we have insecure beliefs? Do we look for validation? Do we do shit like that? Whether it's Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, or the Dallas Mavericks beating the Phoenix Suns. It's all just groupthink. Right? Sports has a lot less severity in terms of societal cost or societal implication than politics, but it's not a meaningful fucking difference. And so, libertarians, again, the meaningful difference is they don't have infrastructure, which they talk about a lot. They're not a mainstream political party. Which, what's the future of political parties? They will slowly dissipate. Meaning, I'm not against political parties, so I don't vote. I think voting's stupid. I'm the most politically active person ever through education. I just am. Fuck you people. So if you guys want to go vote, well, again, once every 2 years for some guy you have no idea what they're doing. Guy or girl, you have no idea what their thoughts are. You have no idea what their policies are. You have no actual education. In the vast majority of the voter base. And then they're going to go in there and they're going to say, it's expensive at the pump. Who likes to limit the economies? Who wants the inflation to go down? Oh, that's Republicans. I'm going to vote for the red guy. And the reality is nobody knows nobody can pin down exactly what's causing inflation, exactly how to fix it, exactly what to do with monetary and fiscal policy, exactly what to do with diplomatic policy. And so, but it's oversimplification. And then you get I can barely listen to Ben Shapiro do political commentary, and he confidently asserts why the fucking inflation's at this point. He's just pandering to his fucking 4.5 million subs on YouTube, which are illiterate Republicans. Like people with 800 square foot homes with 3,000 square foot Trump flags. Like actually, it's those people. It's literally those people. You say one tagline that makes them jerk off, like Officer Dominguez, and they're like, yep, I'm gonna vote for him. And so it's just pathetic insecurity and inconvenience. I wanna be socially active, I'm gonna go vote, and what am I gonna do? Again, everyone not die, reproduce. Everyone has to not die with money. So that's why we talked about last episode, the economy factors being way more influential than the abortion leak. And so, no, there's not a meaningful difference between Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, because we're all people and we're all stupid, selfish, and arrogant. Excuse me, you people are, Lex Friedman. What is the future of political parties? They'll slowly wane. But again, I'm not against it. Like, if the people matured, again, biological law is a proof. Like, I'm not debating things. I'm not saying you guys don't have the right to dissent. It's a proof. 1 + 1 = 2, even if you don't get it. The fundamental theorem of calculus exists, you can't derive it. There's a fuck ton of science on the internet, and infinitely more that I can't literally write down. And so, besides biological law, there's always, for open issues, there's always room for educated dissent. But it's not Brett Weinstein saying vaccines aren't effective. It's not that. It's not Ben Shapiro saying face masks don't work. It's not that. It's not these libertarian people saying vaccines don't work. It's not that. And again, by merit, you go into court, you can object for being incompetent. You guys are provably incompetent. You formed fucking cults instead of publishing scientific paper, which is obligated by the fucking law. Every law enforcement officer has a sworn oath. Every lawyer has a sworn oath to uphold the fucking Constitution. Nah, now we're going to talk about free speech. Nah. War, death, insurrection, war, shooting, suns out, guns out, pandemic, insurrection. Nah, we're not going to enforce the law. We're going to push out the actual laws and say, what should we do now? But Bitcoin, they talk about Bitcoin as a political consideration. I said LOL, meaning like the libertarians is like, now we have something, decentralized finance. It's like, we need an economy that fucking works. And we just saw Terra, that stable coin, again, that's just a word, yep. Right, the actual economics is, do we have an organically adopted crypto such as Bitcoin not issued or tied to a fiat currency? That's Bitcoin. And when they say stable coin, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. It just lost 99.9% of its value. That's very stable. We can just put, this is not a nuclear warhead on a nuke, and it's still going to explode its nucleus with a bunch of exothermic energy. So we can just keep calling shit words, but the actual mechanics of the economy, right? Either it's organically adopted or it's tied to a fiat currency. But when you say a stable coin, that doesn't give me any indication of the actual infrastructure of the technology itself. And Bitcoin, Kevin O'Leary, Bitcoin is not a software, it's data. It's trackable data. But just Bitcoin as a political consideration, politics, economics. Infinitely different, just LOL. What would it take to have a third-party president? A celebrity, question mark. They just talk about, again, they're going for the rounding errors. But again, that's because of the maturity of the voter base of the American people. Is because, again, the analogy we just used, too much money at the pump. Who likes to limit inflation, again, with no regard to actual economics? I'm gonna vote the red guy. I have a homosexual son and I think he should be fit in well. He should be respected. Who's more in tune with social missions? Blue team. I'm gonna go vote for the blue team. It's literally that, based on whatever personal things going on in the voter's life. And it's not educated. It just isn't ever. But what would it take? Again, what do I mean by that? Third-party political parties don't mean anything to me. You could run, like Donald Trump running as a Republican was kind of like a third party, right? They talk about Michael Bloomberg just being rich as running as an independent. But the reason the third party couldn't, what would it take is more mature investor base to realize red and blue doesn't mean anything. It just doesn't. But again, certainly the infrastructure in terms about, raising money, campaigning, talk about, having to pay a lot of money just to get on the ballot and stuff like that. But a celebrity, certainly. Popularity rules. The only I don't give a fuck what people say in life. It's not hard work. It's not treating people well. It's being popular. If you are popular, shit works in life. If you are not popular in life, shit does not work in life. And so certainly a celebrity would be helpful. But what would it take to have a third-party president? More informed consumers. Can you have capitalism without law and order? Patrick Bet-David. Let's first establish we do not have law and order. Laws that are not enforced are not laws. We do not have foundational fucking laws being enforced that affect everybody. It's not like I'm owed $10 million and it just affects me. This is education for the species for real. And it happens every day. It happens all day. And you slow that down, you restrict it, you break my rights, and you fuck up the education system for this entire fucking species. For real. However you are stealing my research today, you will never do anything besides that. This will never be public knowledge, will never be a museum, will never be an exhibition, will never give a fucking concert. However you're stealing my research today is all you will ever fucking do. And your kids and grandkids will say, why the fuck did we do that? And I will laugh and say, fuck off. But the point is we do not have law and order. In beta male fucking society, you might have law and order sometimes. The United States of America blows up their own buildings. They murder their own citizens. Plenty of governments around this fucking world murder their own citizens. And it's just, again, it's weird, and I don't give a fuck. If someone were to blow my shit away, poison me, hit me with that Novichok, I don't fucking care. And not in like an emotional way. I'm a scapegoat. I never expect to live. And by demonstrable fact, I don't get to live. Every day I wake up and try to put shit into this world to fit in, pay my bills, and have a family, and it doesn't fucking exist because America and the rest of humanity is fucking broken. So there's no law and order to begin with. But can you have capitalism without law and order? No. But then their immediate retort from the Libertarian group, and the round table is like Spike something, Dave Smith, and some other dude, and some chick. I don't know if the chick was a Libertarian. She did not say, she probably said 100 words in the entire 3-hour podcast. So I wasn't sure if, they said Adam Carolla, PBD's co-host, is probably like slightly like left, or like blue Democrat guy, kind of, I think, with probably financially, fiscally conservative-ish. I don't know. PBD is, again, like moderate, conservative, Republican capitalism dude. But the Libertarian people talk about immediately, we just need property and personal safety, which is correct. Defense of property and personal safety. So, meaning, PBD is asking, can you have capitalism without law and order, law enforcement? Well, again, we don't have law enforcement. But again, if every one of your fucking neighbors was trained, capable, able, and on the same maturity level, don't fuck with my shit, don't be disrespectful, like, the actual empirical need for law enforcement would be greatly, greatly diminished. But you certainly need law and order for... This is too general of a fucking question. But again, Patrick Bet-David is underdeveloped, made some money, and now he just... capitalism. This is his big thing. And if you even slightly insult capitalism, PBD is going to get offended as a 45-year-old man. He might not say it explicitly, he might come back with, you're naive, or I disagree with you, and then try to have a conversation, but it's denial. It's just underdeveloped denial. I've seen it 500,000 times, independent examples of people doing this. It's disgusting. But you need property and personal safety. How that practically executed, certainly with, again, like how about police officers versus firemen? Like, police officers are a lot more controversial, firemen not so much. But again, could you have the services that are public now, could they be private, owned by somebody? Well, sure, right? So could you have capitalism without law and order? We don't have law and order, but capitalism, private property. Yeah, you could have capitalism with law and order. Outlaws, they just come up and steal your shit. That's capitalism, kind of. It's illegal, but it's still private property. It's your private property, now I steal it, now it's my private property. So this question doesn't even make any logical fucking sense. And their retort was pretty good. But my overall impression of the Libertarian guests, were in the same way PBD is like right-leaning, anytime you insult capitalism, he's going to kind of slightly disagree and get a little offended. The Libertarian people, they're the ones that are they literally say at the beginning, like, I'm not going to be the person that saves the world, but I'm going to set up the world to be saved. It's just like way too main character syndrome from these guys. Their energy is, their logic is good, but they're again way too uppity in this thing. It's like way too tense for me. It's just like, again, these are the beta males. Their group is going to save the world. It's just like, the world doesn't need saving. People need to mature. And so that's my overall impression of them. I did like the format, getting back to my original question, but I did like the format more so than just a single guest. It's just better conversation, hearing from different people. And I watched the whole thing. PBD still demonstrates childish behavior. He says, what happens if there's only 20 countries in the world? super empires about to emerge. He literally talks about, he literally says you have to be naive to say that when one of the libertarians responds like, that's absolute fucking nonsense. Going from, I don't know how many countries there are, 200, 220, down all the way to 20. Meaning, Patrick Bet-David's like genuinely trying to ask a question like, well, Russia just invaded Ukraine. Okay, that's let's say 220 to 219, and she's not going to get Ukraine. Fuck Vlad. But then like the motivation is there to take a lot of fucking land. It just isn't. This isn't fucking 100, 200, 1,000 fucking years ago, guys. And so the reason Ukraine is getting invaded by Russia is because Russia thinks they own the place. There's history there. It's not like fucking France is gonna come try to fucking take over the United States. Well, please do for it. World War III, let's go. Who cares? But PBD is, again, just a child, man. A fucking child. And the Libertarian retort was fantastic about saying, that's just absolute, complete fucking nonsense. Patrick Bet says you have to be naive to say that. No, for fuck's sake, Patrick Bet, your entire career is built on interviewing murderers. I'm sure when you go home after you drive your car real fast, have a cigar session with Adam Carolla and give another business meeting, then I'm fucking sure you're just like, good God, the world's gonna die, super empire's gonna come to be. It's like, no, a bigger country would have to have the motivation to invade another country. And trust me, the world is obviously fucking immature as fuck, but it's not there. We have technology, for fuck's sake, which will moderate human behavior faster than human history has ever seen before, if we just let it fucking happen. Like when I emailed you guys years ago, just let it happen. Like with my old friends, just let it happen. Just grow up. Nope. Play games, come, and then stagnate until you're dead. But he says, PBD, yep, that's the whole thing. Is there a chance to go down to 20 countries? No. Is there a chance, again, I don't know what all long-standing beefs there are, but how much of the borders would be realigned at any point in the future? Total guess, I would say less than 10%. If there's 220, less than 22. Because again, it has to be a bigger country that has the motivation to want to annex the land. And it's not there. Governments are people. Peoples are individuals. They're all fucking pathetic fucking cunts. And then it's the sentiment of the group festering. Oh, what do I do? Oh, blow up our own buildings. Oh, invade Ukraine. Oh, go shoot up a fucking grocery store. Is another Hitler possible? I think we've already talked about that. Again, for the same reasons, no. Just meaning the pre-cell phone is infinitely different, and we lived it. So we don't see the consequences of that yet. And human behavior hasn't changed much. Is another Hitler possible? I would say less than 5% chance. I'd say less than 1% chance. Possible, but not possible. What makes it most likely? Restricting education, restricting laws, and facilitating the stagnation of human sentiment. Because people can stagnate until they fucking die. I've watched it happen. Basically everybody I've ever met. The whole thing. Fucking everybody. Economic behavior versus violent behavior. Then PBD literally compares another Hitler to recessions. Again, individuals and socioeconomic factors where they can start wars and commit genocides versus economy. Like recession, supply and demand. Oh, I ran out of onions this week. Great comparison there, Patrick Bet. Fuck no. We are just comparing Hitler potential to the recession, the possibility of recessions. It's just like, he used it, as like an insurance policy. There's enough nuclear warheads on this planet to blow this whole thing up. I'm for that. Just wipe us out, drop it here first, I'm off. Thanks for playing. What a lovely life. Border policy. Talk about a voucher program, and what would I do? I've talked about this a little bit. Like I said, I'd be kind of strict just on, what would I actually do? I'd have tough punishments for crimes against illegal entries. If you come in the country illegally and do something violent or dangerous, I'd have strict things for that, punishments for that. If you come into the country, work hard and just don't do dumb shit. Don't steal, don't lie. You don't have to work hard. Just don't fucking abuse shit. That I don't see why they couldn't stay at all. How do you predict that? Would I err on one side or the other? Sure, certainly. Or everyone kind of wants their own family or their own friends more so than some random guy they've never met to be happy and healthy. And so, The voucher program, they talk about like Ellis Islands, where just like people in the country illegally could get papers if they go there. I think that was a decent idea. I think the voucher program they talked about was a decent idea. Just having somebody in the United States vouch for them, to try to mitigate, is this guy just going to be a hard worker, not bother people, not commit crimes, or you go kill somebody? It's like, I do think we'd limit that with someone vouching for you. They talk about Bad Pablo, which I thought was kind of fucking funny, but about being if you're illegal and you're not doing criminal activity and you know somebody who's in a gang or doing violent activity, you can't report them because you're also illegal. So I would have like an amnesty for that, like today, now, anyway. The border policy, again, I haven't been to the border, I haven't seen the thing. They talk about like the cages, about being like, I forget the price, is like $600 a day or something. It was expensive to have the people. And so the only time I'd let mass migrations would be like actually Ukraine into Poland or something. I mean, true humanitarian crises. Even like local violence, like if you're, and I don't know, like if I was in Medellin and it's just crime ridden and you're under violent threats, I would certainly leave and go somewhere. I would certainly do that. If I was an American and a bunch of people just flooding in and committing violent crimes, which again I don't know the statistics, then I would be super happy about that. So I'd be, in general, rather strict on the border policy, and again, how to implement that, I would just need to have more observation. How about to obtain citizenship? How hard should it be to obtain citizenship? I don't think it should be hard. Our entire species is very mobile. If you contribute something, like if you're a skilled worker, if you have income, if you have businesses, if you employ people, just productivity. If you're contributing to the community, you should be able to be a citizen. Fuck all the paperwork type of deal. Does the current government structure get anything correct? Was a question, actually a good question from PBD I liked. I don't know all of the things the government does, so maybe some regulations on the environment or building permits. I would say they do right on building permits, right? Like if I want to buy a home, or go into a restaurant, I want to make sure they don't have a gas leak yesterday, or go to Havana, Cuba, and have a gas leak and get blown up in a tourist place. So I don't know, maybe permitting for general health standards in a city. Now, I don't want to say the government structure does everything wrong, and the libertarians are kind of getting limit all government at all costs type of deal. But I just want shit to work. Like, governments are people, people are people, citizens are people, private or public, those are people. So I just want shit to fucking work. Whatever fucking works, whatever's most practical, that is what I'm for 100% of the time. PACs required for donation over $40,000. Why? Political action committees, they just talk about having to have a PAC to have over $40,000 donations. Why? Don't know. Did COVID lockdowns destroy tens of millions of lives? The libertarians say they did. No, they did not. I have zero sympathy. As somebody with 15 careers, all fraudulently restricted from publication and from doing anything. I can't do anything in my life. And if you got laid off from your job for 6 months, or what the fuck ever, a year or 2 years, why don't you go work on the other 5 side projects you got? Why don't you go make other revenues? If you were not me, literally having law enforcement out of your fucking door, stealing your research, harassing you when you walk around your home at the wrong time, then you can go do something and have a skill set and have a backup plan. So I have no fucking sympathy for if you lost your shitty fucking call center job and you have no skill sets, go do something. Every day after work when you went home and just enjoyed the day, you should have planned. You should have been more fucking prepared. So no, COVID lockdowns did not destroy tens of millions of lives. Laziness has destroyed hundreds of millions, if not billions of lives. But again, coming from the guy who the day Ohio locked down, that was the day we were supposed to get our permits for our restaurant. I still have no income besides a fraudulently depressed valuation on my alcohol company. Nothing else. And the money that I've made in open market investing. 10,000% return, fuckers. People saying there's a zero chance of contraction. One of the guys, I think it was Dave Smith, the guy on the left, says people, he's like, he's coming from the position again, vaccines don't work, masks don't work, and again, oversimplification once again. He says people saying there's 0% chance of contraction after getting vaccinated. Who said that? Go watch the efficacy rates for any vaccine. It's never 100%. It can't be biologically 100% ever. Your cells change every seven years. You need to breathe 60 times a fucking minute. You need to eat twice a day. You need to exercise. You need to get the flu shot once a year. Your biology is always fucking changing. So just to see the complete lack of scientific rigor, complete lack, complete absence. Nobody said there was a 0% chance of contraction. And having 93% efficacy is working, is effective. It is. Saying against so is lawsuits. Again, I don't have access to fucking court. So much freedom, so much decency, so much American rights. Now we're gonna go on a podcast and talk about our shitty fucking understanding of the world. And Dave Smith continues to rant against COVID boosters and being shadow banned. LOL. I am shadow banned. I am actually really societally banned. Not on Twitter, not on Facebook, from societal functions, from reporting crime, from collecting my property, from filing lawsuits, from collecting my property and fucking leaving, from accessing healthcare. I am actually fucking banned. Enjoy your fucking privilege, Dave. Completely abolishing income tax. What do I think? Well, it depends. Does the state tax cover all of the necessities, the roads, bridges, and stuff like that? Again, if it's for public use, you have to have some tax, so I would be against that. I'm 100% for simplifying the tax code. I tried to file taxes this year, no idea what the fuck to do. Within just like it should be like a 2-paragraph thing. Writing a check versus automatic deduction for state tax on W-2s. I think that's good for personal finance development. They talk about instead of having it deducted from your paycheck, having to save your money and write a check to the IRS or to the state. I think that's fine for teaching again personal finance and just to get the newly initiated to the workforce understanding of how the how taxes work and how much money is going to the government. So then we have Spike, and this is the dude on the far right. So I'm not sure who the cute gentleman from Brooklyn in the middle is, but their names are all up on the podcast. He says, "Life begins at conception. When does personhood exist?" False. Life begins at conception. Where's your empirical proof, Spike, to make that logical statement? When does personhood exist? Personhood, identity, sentience? Not probably. When is an individual organism aware that it is alive? When it can form memories, frankly, because that's when a personhood exists. Or I would say demonstrate personality, which would probably, again, not till probably about, 3 months, like after birth. So personhood meaning personality, demonstrate specificity of individuality, their own personality. They're different from everybody else. Not till well after birth. But I'm certainly not. Yeah, you can abort me. It's just technically murder, but I'm for 1,000-month trimester abortions and fully for the death penalty. So yeah, I am. Life begins at conception. No, there was a beginning. There is no end of geometry. How did vibration stabilize geometry? I'm working on that again. But when does personhood exist? When they start demonstrating personality. Which, for your argument of being pro-life, that's not a good statement, my guy. So that's a bad logical thing, but I wrote it down. Should men have any say in science? I mean abortion. We talked about that last time. Last time meaning about an individual event, being a father, raising a child, not having to worry about the health effects of birthing the child. But should men have a say in science? I mean abortion? Like, Adam on here is like, let's ask the lady, as if being a female is just like the know-all to the scientific process of, when does life begin? When exactly, again, demonstrating personhood exists in personality, but life begins is, again, vitality, sustaining without a sentience to your mother. It would be 3rd trimester where it has viability. So, no, there's no man or woman. If you can think the reason is going to matter more than your genitalia for like the third year in a row. So, and then Patrick Bet-Davis says there's 2 alphas at the very end of the podcast talking about getting people to talk to each other. There are no alphas in human society. The analogy is well defined. An alpha male in a group of apes is somebody who runs or, again, beats everybody, is physically intimidating, gets the way he wants, runs the group, but gets the way he wants with physical intimidation. The analogy works because the beta males don't do that. And we have a society of just beta males and females. They just sit around, they don't want to run too much, they want a job, they want a wife, they want a girlfriend, they want an income, but they don't want to run shit. They just want to get offended. And then that group up comes up, and then again someone goes and shoots up a fucking grocery store. And so there's no alphas in human societies. It's just beta males that refuse to mature, and I'm the scapegoat for that. But how do betas identify one another in groups? It's a very well-defined word. It's folks. Oh, there's some nice folks over there, some good people. They're just good folks. So that's how you can identify. If you ever get scapegoated outside the human species like me, you can identify other betas identifying one another by the use of the term folks. So, any final thoughts? This one's gone long enough. Had to restart a couple times because making sure it's still rolling. But I lost a subscriber. Oh, went from 43. The YouTube growth has been exponential. Lost one, went down to 42. I guess I didn't like what I was buying at the grocery store. Maybe I should have gone to Buffalo, New York, and gone through the gauntlet myself. But again, also in that one, when he's like apologizes to like the white fucking guard just taken behind the fucking courtroom and torture him. But I went back to the gym today. I got a new gym membership. I'm now at East Sporta. Took a whole month off of exercising just to try to get my back better. No real change on my lower back. Doesn't feel any different. Again, I need access to actual fucking healthcare. Which, can you get healthcare in the United States of America? No, you cannot, because freedom, science, competence, great lawmakers, informed voter bases, hardworking politicians, profoundly disciplined business owners, and just great quality human beings in general. Fuck no. It's just a bunch of horny animals that play games all day, come and try to pay their bills, and then they can't, and then fuck the world. But back at the gym, I like exercising again. Like, I don't care about lifting heavy weights anymore. I just like the daily expenditure of exercise, feeling tired after a workout. So that's that. Anything else for today? No, I think I might have got a story in there. Let's say. Blah 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 blah. No, that's it. So again, remember, at some point in human history, or not, again, you can just keep facilitating violence, wars, treason left and right. Like, it's just you guys can't stop committing treason because you feel responsibility for nothing. So, as always, my name is Brad Boos. I'm being profoundly and extensively tortured. There's nothing I can do. There's nowhere I can go. And there's no one I can call. I'm going to be tortured until the day that I die because there are no laws. Sun's out, guns out, baby. Good luck going to the grocery store, to a church, to Houston, to Columbus. There's a couple more shootings here in Columbus I saw in the local news. But like one-to-one beef, gang beef, and stuff like that, that doesn't make me fearful at all. So, sun's out, guns out, enjoy all the violence, and keep violating your own constitution in, I would say, hilarious fashion, but in treasonous fashion. Thanks for watching.